Hello and welcome to the presentation on flipping the classroom. I figured there was no better way to present flipping the classroom than by actually doing it through a flipped video. So that's what my presentation is today. It won't be that long. If you look in an increasingly complex world, sometimes old questions require new answers. Flipping isn't actually even that new anymore, but it is a really unique concept and it works really well, especially in a middle school classroom where you're sometimes teaching the same thing 5 times in a row. I do flip lessons with my students quite a bit. A lot of times I will, to keep them interested, I give them a riddle at the beginning of the lesson. For example, I might tell them if at any time you get bored during this video, here is something to ponder. And I always provide the answer at the end of the video. So if you guys are bored today, you can come up with the answer of what belongs to you, but is used more by others. Flipped video. This is just flipped lesson. This is a very simplified diagram showing you what a flipped lesson consists of. One, while you're in task, you introduce the class, or while you're in class, you introduce the task. Oftentimes that just requires me saying, and your homework tonight is a flipped video lesson. Then when the students get home, they are going to work on the task or work on the task outside of class. Oftentimes for me, that's watching a video. I do like to make a lot of videos, and in conjunction with that, they're taking notes. Then I assess their learning, and I can do that very quickly, either through a quick check as they walk into the classroom, a quick warm-up, or sometimes I'll do an Edmodo poll, or I will do an Edmodo assignment where they're answering a question. And then it follows up with an in-class activity where I'm actually working with them on the concept that they taught. Okay, what does it mean to flip? The typical class presentation is usually done live by the teacher, and instead it's now communicated to the students at home via a podcast, video, or other online resources. When I taught at Eastside and was teaching math in 5th grade, this was just a snapshot from one of the videos I did on a mathematical concept that the kids had to learn. That's when I was more brave and actually videotaped myself doing the lessons as opposed to now where I really much prefer to videotape PowerPoints. So the night before they've done the lesson, they've watched the video, they've taken their notes, and they come in the next day and they work on their homework with my help and guidance. And this is awesome, especially when you're teaching a brand new concept, because instead of the student practicing it wrong and making the same mistakes over and over and over again so that you have to reteach them, you're right there to correct that mistake the first time around. So it's a really great tool to have. It's a really great thing to use for all levels of learners. Okay, so what is a flipped classroom? Well, it's a mean to increase teacher contact time. If I flip and they watch the video at night, I have more time to actually talk and interact with the students. It's an environment that increases student responsibility. You have to be assertive in your learning. It's a blend of direct instruction and the constructivist learning. They're constructing their own learning as they're watching the videos, as they're listening to the podcasts. They're trying to apply it, and if they can learn it and work through it that way and they get it right, it's such a powerful learning tool. In class, the students are engaged. I know a lot of times when I give lectures, I'll look out and see a lot of the kids kind of zoning out, wondering what's for lunch. And when we're working as a group, I can immediately grab onto those students that aren't working. And it's a class where absent students won't fall behind because they can watch the videos to help them catch up. Now, obviously, that's not all perfect, but all of these things do happen when you flip your classroom. What it's not, it is not simply online videos. It is not about replacing teachers with videos. You just can't do that. It's not an online class at all. It's not students working without structure. It's not like, here, learn this concept, here's all the tools you need, go. It's not students working in isolation. And it's not students spending the entire class online. In fact, if you come into my classroom, even on a flipped day, you might see 1 or 2 students on the computer, but not very many. Right, and that's just a cute cartoon I found. This isn't what I imagined when they said flipped classroom. Okay, 5 keys to planning a flipped classroom. Number 1, you have to plan quality homework that replaces direct instruction. Your production quality, if you create a video, is really important. I've learned that many times the hard way. Using the software correctly is great. There are so many times that I look on Post on Edmodo and the kids are like, "There's no sound. What are we supposed to do?" It's a way, you need to find a way to hold kids accountable for their flipped homework. You can't just say watch a video and expect them all to do that. That's unrealistic. Being proactive with problem students that are going to come in with that excuse, my technology was down, my internet was down, my mom won't let me get on the computer, and you got to get kind of creative and proactive with those students. And you have to be very flexible, just like you do every day with all the kids you work with. So first, you create videos, and it's actually really easy to do. Right now I'm using the Screencast-O-Matic, which Rachel Bonner showed me, which is awesome. It's a fun video. Look, I can show up in the video. See, hi, how are you guys? I can hide my face. I can actually cover the whole screen with my face, but that's just too scary to show you. And I've made all these videos. Notice I had 623 views in one. I was kind of proud of that. I have a math one that has 5,923 views, and my teenage son is extremely jealous of that one. So you make your video. We have access to it. I have a sheet that has all the resources that you need in order to do that. You hold the students accountable. The way I do that in my classroom is I use foldables. And every day that the students watch a flip video, they are required to bring in a foldable showing that they've taken the notes. And so I set it up and I show them, like, this is a slide from one of my flip videos telling them exactly what I'm looking for. And then I show them what it should look like on the inside. And all these notes are given to them throughout the video. So yes, they can actually start the video, fast forward all the way to the end and get the notes, but a lot of them don't do that. I'm sure there's one or two that do. All right, and then this is how I assess them. I give them like an I-try, which is just like maybe 4 problems. And they work at it, and then I usually put an answer key up after it, and then part of their homework is after you've watched the video and taken the notes, you do an Edmodo poll or you do an Edmodo assignment where you say, I got all 4 right, I got 1 and 2 wrong, I didn't understand number 3, so that way I can assess them before they even come into class. I also can assess them as they come into class through a very quick warm-up. Right. Advantages. There are so many. Like, I am so appreciative of having flipping my classroom sometimes. One, it gives the students control of their interactions and has a really positive effect. They love it. When they see flip video for a homework assignment, they are so excited. The videos are easy to create. I like to create them where the kids are hearing my voice and as you saw before, sometimes seeing my picture. It makes the kids so much more excited, and they're used to hearing your voice, and they know your intonations, and they know what's important and what's not from your voice. It gives you so much more class time to guide students through the content. And it gives me a lot more time to do some hands-on learning and some creative projects in class because we're not doing the sit and get, as I call it. My students use it for review all the time. They have a quiz every Friday, and they'll sometimes review the videos from the week. Students that are absent can easily assess information they missed. And really, it helps parents help their students. Those parents, well, I don't understand why you're teaching this or how you're teaching this. Well, great, you can watch the video too, and then you'll see exactly what we're doing. All right, I think I'm going to hide myself again. So that's it. That's my presentation on flipped videos. The answer to the riddle, in case you couldn't figure it out, was your name is what you own, but more people use. And now I am ready for any questions and comments. Thank you so much for listening.